Welcome to the overview of Aurora State College of Technology, where we delve into the heart of our institution and explore the many facets that make ASCOT. Established under Republic Act 7664, ASCOT has a rich history of providing quality education and services to its community. Our vision, mission, quality policy, objectives, goals, and core values are the guiding principles that shape every aspect of ASCOT's operations. ASCOT's governance is in the hands of dedicated individuals who steer the institution towards success, each with their unique responsibilities. Our college thrives on a network of organizations driven by a dynamic and diverse workforce. ASCOT's assets include not just its infrastructure, but also its diverse educational programs. Our enrollment status reflects the trust students place in us. We meet local, regional, national, and international requirements, ensuring the highest standards in education. We cherish our relationships with clients, linkages, customers, and stakeholders. ASCOT thrives in a competitive environment, always striving for excellence. We understand our strategic context and adapt accordingly. Performance improvement is ingrained in our system, driving us towards excellence. Our senior leadership sets the tone by establishing our vision, promoting ethical behavior, and ensuring effective communication. Governance and societal contributions are the core of our existence. Our strategy development process is meticulous, focusing on innovation and our core competencies. Key strategic objectives drive our initiatives forward. We plan and deploy actions to achieve our strategic goals. We listen to our customers, meeting and exceeding their expectations. Customer engagement is the heart of our operations. We regularly gauge customer satisfaction and use feedback to improve our services. Performance measurement is crucial in our pursuit of excellence. We value data, knowledge, and organizational learning. Our workforce is the backbone of ASCOT, and we invest in their development and engagement. Workforce engagement and a positive organizational culture drive our success. Efficient work processes are the bedrock of our operations. We continuously improve processes for efficiency and effectiveness. Our results reflect our commitment to excellence across all aspects of ASCOT. At ASCOT, we are dedicated to shaping futures, fostering innovation, and delivering
Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed educators and passionate instructional designers, welcome to a transformative online seminar dedicated to the art and science of module writing and copywriting instructional materials. Well, I am thrilled to be your host for this enlightening journey into the heart of educational excellence. I am Reaya Kodjapit, instructor of the School of Education, ASCOT. In the dynamic landscape of education, crafting an effective module is the cornerstone of fostering an engaging and impactful learning experiences. Well, today we will delve into the intricacies of module writing and copywriting instructional materials, exploring the techniques to align to educational objectives with student outcomes and weaving a narrative that captivates and inspires. As we embark on this seminar, let us embrace the opportunity to refine our skills, share insights, and collectively elevate the standards of teaching and learning. I invite you to actively participate, engage in discussion, and forge connections with like-minded professionals who share a passion for educational excellence. Get ready to delve into the art of module writing and navigate the intricate landscape of copywriting instructional materials. Well, together, let's empower ourselves to shape the future of education. Welcome to a seminar where knowledge meets innovation and inspiration fuels transformation.
Our Heavenly Father, the fount of all goodness and grace, the cause of wisdom, the source of intelligence, we welcome you, O Lord, to this auspicious gathering of your beloved, who continuously give you thanks for every opportunity to learn something new and become fruitful to the works of your creation. We humbly come to you, not because we are worthy, but because we find ourselves in need of you, who is our strength and our hope, to continue despite the challenges we face in health, prosperity, and our solidarity with one another. We pray that today's gathering, made possible by the grace of advancements in technology and social media, become successful in its endeavors, so we can offer it back to you as our humble offering to honor you, glorify you, and love you through our deeper connection with everyone. May we find bliss in today's session and become more productive children and co-creators of the earth. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telos ang sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tula, kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay di magtitingin, lumalang araw ng walhati pagsingka, huwag langit sa piling mo, ang hinigaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Before we proceed to the core of this seminar, of course, we would like to acknowledge the presence of our well-respected Vice President for Academic Affairs and for being with here in this seminar. To welcome us in this momentous educational journey, let us give a hand to Dr. R.B.J. Gallego.
To all of the participants and viewers of this video, have a good day to all of you. One of the developmental goals of ASCOT is to produce globally competitive graduates. And one of the pillars of this goal is the continued quest for the development of instructional materials to be utilized, of course, by our faculty and students. The quality of IMs indeed is very crucial in leveling up the intellectual capacity and skill competencies of our students. Thus, this training video is very much imperative for us all faculty. This will be part of our planning and strategizing our actions for the next fiscal year, the fiscal year of 2024. We have to plan with the end in mind. What is that end in mind? All we want is to deliver quality education that can be measured by the quality of our graduates. So we need to consider our students in developing our modules and or our instructional materials. We can conduct empathy interview and client journey mapping in order for us to know the pain points of our students in our subjects. And with those pain points, we can innovate in order for us to design better actions to improve our IMs to deliver the best education that our students deserve. As to the moment, we are also on our way towards internationalization of our programs, and we could start that initiative through home-based internationalization of our teaching and learning processes. So let us start by setting a good language in our IMs. Probably we could utilize the English language, and we can include examples and activities that fits the international standards. Later on, the small initiative will profound to a cross-border internationalization of our programs, where later on we can accept international students in our programs, and also some of our students and faculty can be sent abroad through a faculty or student exchange program. So this activity is indeed a really good start for all of us. And I know that all our resource persons are well equipped in order for us to be equipped also for this purpose. So the effort of the Instructional Materials Development Committee, headed by Dr. Jocelyn Diaz and also Ma'am Melissa Nasino, is very much appreciated. Also, the help of the IMDC coordinators for each of the programs are also well appreciated. And to all the participants and online viewers of this video, you are all welcome in this activity. Have a good day to all of you.
Thank you so much for that insightful message, Dr. Gallego. Indeed, your presence and support to this academic endeavor is truly appreciated. Alright, without further ado, let's proceed to our first discussion for today. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues and distinguished guests, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our first speaker for today, a remarkable individual who has achieved excellence in her academic pursuits and has continued to inspire others through her accomplishments. At the young age of 26, she has already left an indelible mark on her educational journey and has set a shining example for aspiring students. Born with a passion of knowledge and an unwavering commitment to academic excellence, she embarked on her educational journey at Nonong Senior Elementary School, where she graduated as the class valedictorian, showcasing her exceptional dedication to learning from a very early age. Her pursuit of excellence did not stop there. During her secondary education at the Aurora National Science High School, she consistently ranked among the top 5 students, demonstrating her exceptional intellect and dedication to her studies. These early academic success laid the foundation for her future achievements. In her higher education, she further solidified her reputation as a scholar and high achiever. She earned the prestigious title of cum laude when she completed her BS Ed in mathematics at Mount Carmel College, a testament to her relentless pursuit of academic excellence. Currently, she stands at the threshold of another remarkable achievement as a MAT candidate for graduation at NEUST, showcasing her continued commitment to advancing her education and expertise in the field. Her dedication is not confined to the classroom alone, and she has also excelled in various examinations, earning the distinction of being a 2015 CSC Sub-Professional Passer, a 2017 LET Passer, and a 2018 CSC Professional Passer. Additionally, she has honed her skills in computer system servicing, holding an NC2 certification since 2018, highlighting her versatility and competence in diverse fields. Today, we are privileged to hear from a young scholar and trailblazer whose journey through education and their impressive achievements serve as an inspiration to us all. We eagerly anticipate her insights and wisdom as she addresses our seminar. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our distinguished speaker, Ms. Nikita Paola A. Del Mundo, Instructor I from School of Education, Aurora State College of Technology.
Good morning po sa ating lahat. Magandang araw po. Again po, I am Nikita Paula A. Del Mundo, one of your faculty here at Aurora State College of Technology, and I am here to bring you what we call, or what I would call, the crash course modulate. So, kinonsider ko po siya as a crash course because naituro na po sa atin ito before ni Sir Pajos and ni Ma'am Jo. So this presentation is heavily based on the SLK presentation that was presented to us before by Sir Pajos. But as suggested po ni Sir, we would not go in depth, or we would not follow the SLK format provided na maayos pa rin po yung pinakang framework. So let's start po. The overview of the presentation would be only consisted of the following: introduction of what a module is and how are we going to understand the module in order for us to create the actual work, the framework, which is based on the SLK format, and the rubric, which is kung ano po yung ginagamit ng IMDC natin para i-check po ang ating mga instructional materials. So these are the things that we are going to watch out for while we are doing the module. So let's start first. For the introduction, as we all know, most of our courses are expected to have modules that correspond to the weeks or main topics of the semester. By then, the learners would be able to proceed through them in chronological order. So it is suggested that each module should have a title, and it may include a combination of pages, discussions, assignment, quizzes, surveys, or even links to files or external websites. Now, the reason why we need these modules even here in college is because it helps students to obtain information more systematically and practically. That modules are one of the teaching materials that are packed wholly and systematically. So there's already a set of planned learning experience inside of the modules designed to help students comprehend specific learning goals. Another important thing or essence of what we call the module is that should there ever be instances where may disruption sa classes, pwede nating ipagawa yung module uh, so that yung mismong discussions natin ay hindi disrupted. Okay? So now for the framework na i-follow natin, we will follow what we call the, there we go, it's presented, introduction, objectives, the subject matter, the procedure, and the assessment. So for the introduction, it should contain the essential elements or essential information about your module. Okay, so background of the subject, which should be, of course, originally written by the teacher. Since 100% of the module is done by you, therefore, sa start pa lang, dapat yung intro nyo ay originally yours. So even if it's an original work, there's also a suggested format or sample for an introduction. Commonly, kapag module, nagsastart tayo dun sa term na in this module. So you will learn all there is to know about whatever topic or whatever subject matter that they are going to understand and learn from the module na binabasa nila. Next po is part ng introduction ng ating first part rather ng introduction natin yung mga descriptions, additional explanation sa importance nung not just the module but nung mismong subject kung saan ginagamit yung module na yon. The second paragraph can be consisting of ano yung mga task at ano yung mga expected natin na gawin ng mga bata. So there will be sets of activities with each activity expecting you to ilagay natin yung skill or yung goal na kailangang i-meet ng mga estudyante. And after providing them with the challenges and the expectations from them, of course, yung paalala na syempre dahil module siya at para masabing fully guided siya, it is also expected that answers and assessments and the good lucks would also be contained in the introduction. Pero akala po kasi natin, pag sinabi natin na module and then may notion po tayo or may word po kasi dito na answers is that senseless na po kasi ang gagawin ng mga bata ay tse-tsekan or titingnan lang din naman pala nila yung nasa likuran. Hindi po. May mga items lamang po or mga specific parts ng ating module na may sagot. So as you can see, activities and exercises, summary, synthesis parts, wherein you are asking students to do something, yun po yung pwedeng may mga sagot. Pero yung assessment po, yung final evaluation that the students have to go through, yun po yung unanswered. So, ayan. Now, balik po tayo sa ating framework again. Go. So, sa framework, ang isusunod naman natin ay yung objectives. Yung objectives po, kada chapter ng module nyo, dapat nandun siya. And for us to create an objective, ulit-ulit po itong pinapaalala sa atin that the guidelines for these are the following. It should be smart. It should follow Bloom's taxonomy. It should be feasible and meets the time frame. So again, smart, very paulit-ulit na po ito sa atin and it's not limited to the objectives or the formulation of objectives. When we say SMART, let's start with S, meaning specific. So it refers to how concrete yung goals natin, because the more specific it is, the better. For example, helping students achieve good grades, kung yun po yung goal natin or objective, hindi po siya specific. Ang definition natin ng good grades is very vague and it's also subjective. Whereas, kung sabihin na lang sana po natin na helping all students in our class get 75 and above on the final test, yan, very specific goal siya. So, pag sa module naman ng pinag-uusapan, commonly ang ginagawa po talaga, magkakabit lang tayo ng isang verb from the Bloom's taxonomy next to our topic. So, for example, distinguish the different classifications of, solve problems involving, create a newsletter following. Ayan po. Now, other than specific, it should also be measurable. So, it is expected na lahat po ng gagawin ng bata, meron po tayong kaakibat na pangsukat doon. So, we can't know if we've reached our destination if we don't have a clear location. And as a teacher, we have different tools and methods for measuring our students' outputs and eventually their success. For example, we have grades, progress in their class, and feedback forms, and at the same time, yung tinatawag po na rubric. So, pag sinabi po nating measurable, ano po yung pangsukat natin para sa mga activities or tasks na nandoon sa module. Okay? Next po natin is achievable. So, a SMART objective can be accomplished, should be accomplished rather, in normal circumstances when it comes to skills, resources, and teaching context. If we're going to expect po kasi na lahat ng bata mawa 100 yung topic at that's not really a realistic goal. Diba? So, an example of this is that at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to create their own problems involving whatever topic is involved, analyze the different types of statistics used in thesis presented. So, ayun po. So, pag sinabi ko nating achievable, it should not be limited to the top students of our class. It should be something that all students will be able to achieve. So, next part po ng ating SMART is yung tinatawag natin na relevant. Naturally, we want our students to learn something useful from our courses or from the courses that we are teaching them. So, we must set relevant goals so that students can learn the right things at the right time and eventually later apply this knowledge they gained in real life situations. Again, this is the reason why we do not stray away from the topic. So, if we want them to learn about the operations of fractions, we don't simply say that they learn or they should learn the operations of fractions. We must be able to set an objective that clearly defines how they will be able to learn the operations. For example, adding fractions, subtracting, multiplying, etc. Again, another relevant one is distinguish plural and singular verbs. Manipulate an actual microscope, di ba? We always need to set objectives that is relevant to our topic. And finally, as teachers, we are already used to deadlines. So this should also be applied to our students' goals, meaning the last letter for SMART, which is letter T, is equivalent to being time-bound. So for the students to be motivated and to ensure a steady pace for the whole learning process, the goals or objectives that we must establish should be time-bound. However, when it comes to personalized learning, the time it takes to master a skill can also be different for each student. This is why even the assessment part of our module should not have too many assessment items. Okay? And ulit-ulit po tayo dun sa term na Bloom's taxonomy. And even now, Bloom's taxonomy is actually updated or revised. For Bloom's taxonomy, we have the following: remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So, ito pong Bloom's taxonomy, ito po yung nagsasabi kung anong level of thinking skill yung kinekater or ikikater natin sa bata kapag nag-set tayo ng objective. If we simply want them to show that they remember previous knowledge gained, dito po yun sa remember. And ang start po dapat ng objectives natin ay here over here, or samples po ito sila. Hindi naman po lahat. Tell, list, define, describe, match, identify, and state. Now, if we think that they are now capable of showing that they have understood the idea of the activity by being able to restate it in their own words, andito na po tayo sa understand. Or for example, kung sa day 1, it's simply about remembering, possibly sa chapter 2 or day 2 naman natin, ang objective na natin is about them understanding the lesson. Diba? And for understanding, we have the following: explain, give an example, defend, infer, predict, rewrite, and summarize. If students are ready to apply the new knowledge gained through words or actions, of course, nandun na po tayo sa application. Now, if they are capable of or ready to ask why or how this information is relevant to themselves or to society in general, we are going to provide objectives related to analysis. So, analyze, compare, contrast, identify, illustrate, and outline. If students are ready to form judgments on new knowledge gained and how they may relate to the knowledge to their benefit both inside and outside the classroom, nasa evaluation stage na tayo. And eventually, if they are capable of using their overall learning to create something or to activate their critical thinking skills to create ways to show how they benefited from the new knowledge gained, nandito na po tayo sa create. So, that is letter C po. May additional C: create, devise, design, generate, modify, organize, plan, rearrange, reconstruct, and reorganize. So, sa objectives po natin, hindi po expected na lahat ito ay isusulat natin. Commonly, pag sinabi po nating objectives, may certain part po tayo ng ating module, possibly isang chapter, na yung first subchapter niya, subtopic niya, remembering and understanding pa lang ang mga objectives. Yung susunod po na subtopic is about applying and analyzing. Yung susunod po is about evaluating and creating. But it doesn't necessarily mean na lahat po dapat ng mga ito ay present sa kada chapter. But it is suggested na kung meron na po kayong provided na objectives to stimulate the lower order thinking skills of the students, dapat meron din po kayong pang higher order thinking skills. Now, if set na po tayo sa ating objectives, we go back to the format. So, yung subject matter po, we are simply going to detail ano po yung mga specific topics and materials na gagamitin at aaralin ng mga bata. For the procedure, so, kita nyo naman po yung logo natin. Ayan. The procedure, we're still going to follow the Adidas format. For the Adidas format, magsa-start tayo dun sa tinatawag na A, which is the activity. The activity part is the preliminary part of your module and should make our readers be hooked into the lesson. It should be catchy enough for their attention. It should be related to the lesson. We should provide pictures or illustrations. So as you can see, activity is, I termed it here as motivation part of the module. So kung may motivation tayo during class discussion, meron din pong motivation part sa isang module. Ito po yung starter nila. So, sa activity, again, yung mga ipoprovide nyo po na initial activities ay dapat related na agad sa lesson, but at the same time, it should be something relatable in real life. Samples, labeling, matching, true or false, step-by-step organization, short time, experiments. After po nung activity, tatanungin po natin sila. Ano po yung mga engaging questions kung saan matatry ng mga bata na slowly ma-relate yung ginawa nila dun sa actual lesson. And eventually, after gauging the students by asking them questions, we move to the input. So, input is the part where we actually discuss. Dun sa input part, it is as if we're discussing live. Yung lecture time namin or natin should be self-explanatory. Yung statements and explanations dapat ay conversational. Ang explanations din dapat natin ay kailangan relevant ang mga examples na binibigay at may mga images and other materials na supplementary materials na expected na localized para mas relatable sa mga bata. It should also be simple and specific. Kasi provided naman na yung mga context or mga topics and mga ideas, sa input dapat nandun po, naka-input talaga yung explanation ng mga um, teachers for dun sa topic nila, dun sa module. Pag sinabi po nating side exercise or side exercise, during input po, hindi po ito fully explain or basa ng basa yung bata. Kailangan na stimulate din sila by providing questions or mini activities within the module. So, it is recommended na yung module natin ay merong note-taking part para kahit papaano kung may mga questions po tayo, may space ang mga bata kung saan nila isusulat yon. Okay? After po ng input, nandun na yung term na deepening. Sa deepening, do we think that the students are capable of beyond their surface level knowledge? But in deepening po, we are not going to further deepen the discussion. What we're going to do is ask them to deepen the discussion. We don't tell them, but rather we ask them. Okay? After deepening, which is yung last minute natin na pagtatanong sa kanila whether they're ready or not, application na. Okay? When we say whether they're ready or not, whether they were capable of fully understanding the lesson. So, sa application, this is time, it's the time for them to showcase what they have learned. So it can be in the form of question, game, problem solving, activity, and etc. So as we've learned before, application is simply showcasing what they were able to understand. Whereas, after ng application, meron pa po pala dapat tayong set of activities na nagpo-provide ng synthesis. This is summary of the lesson but in the form of completion test, problem solving, true or false, labeling, etc. Itong dalawa pong ito ang pwedeng lagyan or dapat pong lagyan ng answer key. Saan po yung part na walang answer key? Yung after po ng ating discussion or ng kabuuan ng Adidas, dito po sa tinatawag na assessment. So, assessment is or should be informative and it should also only contain a maximum of 10 questions. Itong 10 questions po ito po yung walang mga sagot. Okay? So, after po natin dun sa framework, in summary, ito po ang kailangan nating tandaan na mga parts ng ating module. So, introduction, possible contents are the brief, background, history, and expectations. Ang objectives natin dapat align po sa Bloom's, dapat may lower order thinking, and eventually dapat may higher order thinking. Sumunod po yung procedure natin. You have the activity, the discussion, the input, the deepening, the application, and the summary or synthesis. And eventually, yung ating assessment or evaluation. So, after po nating matapos yung kabuuan or yung pangkalahatan, tulad nga po nung sinabi natin sa overview, meron pong check na po tayo dito sa intro, check na po tayo sa framework, and then what after that or what comes after that. So, akala po natin after natin magawa yung ating module ay tapos na po, pwede na nating i-print, i-reproduce, and then gamitin sa mga bata. Meron pa pong kailangang i-accomplish. At ito ay yung ipacheck natin yung module natin sa ating IMDC. Okay? So, nariyan po si Ma'am Jocelyn and si Ma'am Mel para i-check po ang ating mga instructional materials at ito po ang kanilang mga sinusunod. Unang-una po, yung alignment ng mga contents natin sa objective. So, ang maximum po na description sa kanilang rubric is that all contents are aligned to the objective of the course. Okay? Substantial to explain the objectives of the chapter. This is why may time po na pinapaprint din po ang ating syllabi And then, ikino-cross-check po yung objectives ng or competencies ng syllabi dun sa objectives ng ating module. Aligned with that or connected with that is yung organization. Yung contents po ba ay divided to avoid information overload, and are they arranged in a logical series? Sunod po, tulad po ng sa research, kino-consider din po yung sources or reference. Kailangan dated 10 years back lamang. Next po is yung assessment or yung evaluation natin. Are they extremely related to our goals, objectives, activities? And are they well organized in formative or summative formats? And also suggested po na may reflections na included since module po siya. Next po, of course, and dahil nga po tinawag siyang module, kasama po na i-consider yung typography, color, and graphics or yung outward appearance nila. Sa typography po, ang tinutukoy dito, lahat po ba ng headlines and body parts natin ay nagamit consistently. Meaning, kung ang chapter 1 natin ay naka-boldface, naka-center, at naka-Times New Roman, would the name chapter 2 onwards be the same? So, ayun po. Sa color naman po, of course, blended po ba siya ng maayos? Or, kaya naman ay aligned yung mga colors na napili natin doon sa ating mismong module na ginagawa. Sa graphics naman, alam po natin na may mga courses tayo na kailangan po talaga ng representations or pictures and graphics. Consistent po ba yung paggamit? And at the same time, kung ito po ay hindi nila kuha or gawa, na-cite po ba siya ng maayos? So, are all the graphics of good quality? Or instead po na makatulong dun sa bata is dahil sa sobrang labo, hindi na po niya naintindihan. So, kino-consider din po yung mga pictures. And finally, since it is written, spelling and grammar are also going to be checked. May misspelling ba? May typographical or grammatical errors ba? So, kung wala po, full points yung makukuha. I tried doing this chart para mapakita po yung breakdown. So, yung rubric po kasi, may kanya-kanya po silang bigat. Yung scores po, ang pinakamataas na pwedeng ibigay sa bawat isa ay 4 and ang pinakamababa ay 1. Ang gagawin po doon is that per score, imo-multiply sa certain multiplier and then i-add po all together. So, ang multiplier po ng content and assessment is times 3. So, 20%, they make up 20% each of the whole score. Ang sumunod po dyan ay yung spelling, sources, and organization. So, kung ano man po yung score nyo from 1 to 4 sa spelling, organization, and sources, imo-multiply po yan by 2. And then yung graphics, color, typography ay equivalent lang din as is. So, as an example, hindi po ito realistic na rating, but let's just say, binigyan po kayo ng the following scores. Content, organization, typography, color, graphics, spelling, and grammar are all good. Are all very good rather. So, binigyan ko kayo ng full marks. As we can see, 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. Organization, 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. And then, spelling and grammar is multiplied by 2. Typography to graphics, multiplied by 1. Sources, multiplied by 2. Assessment, multiplied by 3. You add them all together. So, ano po yung decision? Nakalagay po dito approved. This is because may remarks po sa dulo nung rubric na ginagamit ng IMDC. Approved po pag ang score nyo ay 50 to 60. Maximum po kasi nito ay 60 points. Approved with further revisions tulad nitong kasunod kapag nag-score po kayo ng 30 to 49. And then disapproved kapag nag-score naman ng 29 below. So, andito po yung part na we cannot really disregard any of the criteria. In this case, dito po, considered naman niya kahit papaano lahat. Yung sa sources lang, siguro nakulangan. Yung assessment, siguro masyadong vague. We're not sure. 'Di ba? Pero, approved pa rin siya. Whereas, dito po, sabihin ho natin na maganda ang layout, kaso nagka-problem sa sources na eventually naapektuhan ng content and assessment, and at the same time yung spelling and grammar, so bumaba po siya. Ngayon, paano po natin malalaman yung mga specific parts na dapat nating i-improve? Ang ginagawa po ng IMDC is that chine-check po nila yon. And then, inilalagay po nila yung certain comments and suggestions dun sa chapter or pages na kailangan ng improvement. Okay? So with that po, maraming salamat po. And hopefully after this, marami na pong module na matcha-checkan at magagamit eventually ang ating mga bata. Magandang araw po muli.
Great. Thank you so much for that meaningful discussion, Ma'am Nikita del Mundo. We definitely have understood your expertise about module writing. Such knowledge guides the teaching and the learning experience, especially by our esteemed guests and participants today. Hence, probably some of you would like to ask additional questions to our very own speaker, and don't worry, we got you covered. Feel free to leave your questions in the comments section below. Now, let's proceed to the awarding of Certificate of Appreciation for our first speaker today. Allow me to read its content. Republic of the Philippines, Aurora State College of Technology, Instructional Materials Development Committee, Vice President for Academic Affairs Office, Baler Aurora 3200 Philippines. This Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Nikita Paola del Mundo for rendering her invaluable time and service as the resource speaker for the topic Crash Course Moduling during the online lectures on syllabus preparation, module writing, and copywriting instructional materials streamed at the ASCOT Facebook page on December 20, 2023. Given this 20th of December 2023 at the Aurora State College of Technology, Zabali, Baler, Aurora. Signed, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. RBJ Gallego. Signed, Officer in Charge, Office of the President, Ms. Laura L.U.C. Alright, now that we have unlocked the important keys in developing a module that are not only informative but also immersive. As we navigate our journey in instructional designing and uncovering these strategies to enhance content delivery, we recognize the importance of copywriting instructional materials. In an era of digital sharing and collaboration, understanding the legal and ethical dimensions of intellectual property is crucial. Through our next speaker, we will be equipped with the knowledge and tools to protect your creative work while fostering a culture of respect for intellectual contributions. After learning about the important details in module writing and course materials development, let us hear another lecture from one of ASCOT's legal officers. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that we introduce our esteemed resource speaker for this session, Attorney Karl Thomas M. Olivar. Attorney Karl is a highly accomplished individual holding a Bachelor of Science in Biology from the University of the Philippines, Baguio in 2012, and later earning his Bachelor of Laws from the University of the Cordilleras in Baguio City in 2018. His impressive academic achievements were further solidified by successfully passing the Career Professional Examination and the 2018 Bar Examination, gaining admission to the bar on June 17, 2019. With a strong foundation in both science and the law, Attorney Olivar brings a unique and interdisciplinary perspective to the table. Attorney Olivar's professional journey has been marked by notable contributions and diverse experiences. He served as a court decongestion officer at the Supreme Court of the Philippines in 2019, showcasing his commitment to the administration of justice. Following that, he assumed the role of Attorney II at the Department of Transportation Central Office from January 2020 to January 2021. Advancing to Attorney III at the same agency from January 2021 to May 1, 2023. And currently, he holds the position of Attorney IV at the Aurora State College of Technology. Today, Attorney Karl Thomas M. Olivar will share his expertise in the realm of intellectual property rights with a particular focus on the legal considerations in copywriting instructional materials. His wealth of knowledge and practical experience in the legal field make him an invaluable resource for our discussion. Please join me in welcoming Attorney Olivar as we delve into this crucial and intricate aspect of the legal landscape.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ngayong araw, I will be discussing an overview of the intellectual property and legal considerations in copywriting instructional materials. And I am Attorney Karl Thomas M. Olivar, Attorney 4 of the Aurora State College of Technology. So first, let us define what is intellectual property. Intellectual property, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization, refers to creations of the mind such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. It is also defined that intellectual property shall refer to product of the intellect, which can be attributed to specific person or institution such as inventions, technologies, developments, improvements, processes, research results, works of art, visible distinctive designs, undisclosed information, and other protected under the intellectual property. So sa dami ng mga sinabing yon, ano nga bang intellectual property? Sa Tagalog, ito ay yamang isip. Ito ay mga produkto ng ating isip, imagination, ideas na dapat nagmamanifest, no? Although intangible siya, hindi siya nahawakan, hindi siya natitikman, nakikita, pero may manifestation ng intellectual property at sa batas natin, ang intellectual property ay mode ng acquiring of ownership. Ano ang constitutional basis ng intellectual property? Under the Philippine Constitution, sa Section 13, Article 14, the state shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, inventors, artists, and other gifted citizens of their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the people for such period as may be provided by law. So ito yung basis. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng governing law na Republic Act number 8293, which is the act prescribing the Intellectual Property Code and establishing the Intellectual Property Office, providing for its powers and functions and for other purposes. So, in short, 8293 is the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, or IPC. Tulad na nabanggit ko, ini-establish din ng batas na to ang Intellectual Property Office or ang IPO, kung saan ang IPO ay may duties and responsibilities to administer and implement state policies declared in the code, examine applications para sa mga patents, registration of marks, geographic indications, integrated circuits, register ng technology transfer agreements, and settle disputes involving technology transfer payments. Ang IPO din ay may tungkulin na i-promote ang paggamit ng patent information as a tool for technology development. At meron din itong role to publish regularly in its own publications, patents, marks, utility models, industrial designs issued and approved. So sa website nila, doon nila pinopost. Role din nila na mag-administer at mag-adjudicate ng mga contested proceedings affecting intellectual property rights. Also, to coordinate with other government agencies and private sectors as to efforts to formulate and implement plans and policies to strengthen protection of IP rights. Ang IPO din ang nagkikip ng custody ng records, books, drawings, specification ng documents, and other papers and things relating to IP rights application sa kanilang mga field offices. Yung IP code, hindi siya nagbibigay ng exact meaning kung ano nga bang intellectual property. Rather, it gives a list of intellectual property rights. Under Section 4, particularly 4.1, Definitions. Ang intellectual property rights ay consist of copyright and related rights, trademark and service marks, geographic indications, industrial designs, patents, layout designs or topographies of integrated circuits, and protection of undisclosed information. So, hindi na natin i-discuss lahat itong pito na to, but rather we will focus more on the three highlighted items: copyright, trademarks, and patents. Pero just so you know, yung kunwari protection of undisclosed information, ito yung mga trade secrets, mga ingredients, mga ganon. For example, dito sa meal na to, sa photo na to, mula sa IPO Philippines, may different types of intellectual property rights na makikita sa isang set lang ng pagkain. For example, copyright. Ano yung pwedeng i-copyright dyan? Yung creative and original artwork na in-apply dun sa packaging. Industrial design. The ornamental design of the disposable packaging of your food. Trade secrets, specific proportion of ingredients or recipes. Utility model. Yung bending straw sa ating mga drinks, yon ay maaaring i-register din as utility models. Trademarks, kung ano yung brand, kilala natin yan. Depende pa lang, kulay pa lamang or mga hugis pa lamang ng mga marka, alam na natin kung anong brand name or anong simbolo nito. So simulan natin sa kung ano nga ba ang patent. A patent is an exclusive right granted to a new, bago, inventive, and useful product, and it can also take form of a new product, process, or technical improvement to an existing invention. Again, it is a statutory grant which confers to an inventor or his legal successor in return for the disclosure of an invention to the public the right for a limited period of time to exclude others from making, using, selling, or importing the invention within the territory of the country that grants the patent. So, Section 21 provides for the definition of a patentable invention. It is any technical solution of a problem in any field of human activity. So may sinosolve siya na problema na dapat new, bago, involves an inventive step and is industry applicable para siya ay maging patentable. For example, etong phone na nakikita nyo, yan ay isang patentable invention kung saan ang tanging pangalan na nailagay sa kanya is an electronic device. Pero na-register yung patent na to. As you all know, this is the iPhone. So sabi, dapat ang isang patentable invention bago, hindi pa ito naging parte ng tinatawag na prior art. Ano nga ba yung prior art? Ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya nakikita sa publiko. And dapat involved ang isang inventive step. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya obvious sa isang person skilled in the art at the time of the filing of the patent or prior date of the application claiming the invention. Inventive step, parang dapat may something na kahit isang tao na maalam sa art na covered nung isang bagong invention, hindi niya yun agad maiisip. Kasi kung yan ay madali lang maisip, hindi na yan inventive. Hindi siya matatawag na isang invention. At dapat din, industrially applicable. An invention can be produced and used in any industry shall be industrially applicable. Ibig sabihin, may silbi. Hindi basta gumawa ka lang ng isang bagay na walang pakinabang. So a patent is an exclusive right that allows the inventor to exclude others from making, using, or selling the product. So it's a negative right. Ina-exclude niya kasi pag may patent ka, ikaw lang yung may karapatan doon. Na gumamit, magbenta, mag-import, at gumamit. Pero a patent owner may also give permission to or license to other parties the use of the invention on mutually agreed terms. Owners may also sell their invention rights to someone else who then becomes the new owner of the patent. So, nata-transfer siya, na-assign siya. And for the term of a patent, it's 20 years from the date of the filing of the application. The Philippines adopts the first to file rule. Ibig sabihin, kung dalawa kayong sabay na nakaimbento ng isang bagay without any knowledge na pareho kayo ng inimbento, kung sino yung una mag-apply ng patent, siya yung i-consider. And doon mag-i-start yung 20 years na term ng patent. After ng 20 years na to, the patent becomes part of the public domain. Monopoly ceases to exist, and the subject matter of the patent also ceases to exist. Next is marks, service marks or trademarks. Under Section 121 of the Intellectual Property Code, mark means any visible sign capable of distinguishing goods for trademark and services for service mark of an enterprise and shall include a stamped or marked container of goods. On the other hand, a trade name means the name or designation identifying or distinguishing an enterprise. So generally, it's the distinctiveness or pagkakakilanlan ng isang marka ang key point na consideration para sa pagpaparegister ng isang trademark or service mark. A trademark can be protected in perpetuity if regularly monitored and properly maintained. But generally, ang duration ng isang mark ay 10 years, renewable for a period of another 10 years. Each request for renewal must be made within 6 months before or after the expiration of the registration. So, as you can see in the pictures, familiar agad, unang kita nyo pa lang, kahit malayo pa lang, alam nyo na yung mga marka na yan. Starbucks for coffee, Nike for example, sporting goods, and Nintendo Switch for a game console. So, lahat yung mga yan, mga goods. On the other hand, LBC is a logistics services company. So, service mark yan. Jollibee, another trademark. And yung Jollibee na name, LBC na name, trade names. Now we go to copyright, which dito tayo magfo-focus kasi it's ang discussion natin ngayon is legal considerations in copywriting instructional materials para sa ating kolehiyo. So now we go to copyright. A copyright is a legal concept that gives the creator of an original work exclusive rights to it, usually for a limited period of time. At its most general, it is literally the right to copy, but also gives the copyright holder the right to be credited for the work, to determine who, if anyone, may adapt the work, to determine who may perform the work, and to benefit financially from the work and other related rights. That's in accordance with the Supreme Court ruling in Elidadco versus Court of Appeals. The IP code provides for a brief definition of a copyright, which is a right over literary and artistic works which are original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain, protected from the moment of creation. So tandaan natin yon, protected from the moment of creation. Ibig sabihin, sa oras na isinulat ko ang isang tula, pagmamay-ari ko yon at may karapatan na ako doon. No need for registrations. Unlike patents and trademarks, kung saan kailangan talaga siyang i-register or mag-apply para sa registration para ma-exercise ko yung rights ko, a copyright, the right is protected from the moment of creation. It is an automatic protection. So what is copyrightable? So, ang copyrightability, i-determine yan whether the work is original. So originality must have been created by the author's own skill, labor, and judgment without directly copying or evasively imitating the work of another. And it must be expressed, must be embodied in a medium sufficiently permanent or stable to permit to be perceived, reproduced, or communicated for a period of more than the transitory duration. So, kung sa term naman ng copyright, it is during the lifetime of the author. But after the death of the author, dun na magsisimulang i-count. It's 50 years. But the counting will begin um, on January 1st following the death of January 1st of the next year following the death of the author. So kung example, namatay si author ng September, ang counting no September 2023, yung counting noon magsisimula pa lang sa January 2024. All right. So anong scope ng copyright? There are two main scopes of copyright. First is the original works, and the second one is the derivative works. Original works under Section 172 of the IP Code provides for literary and artistic works. Madami-dami to. First, literary or artistic works, mga books, pamphlets, articles and other writings, periodicals, newspapers, lectures tulad nito, sermons, addresses, dissertations, prepared for oral delivery, whether or not produced in writing, letters, dramatic, and dramatico-musical compositions, choreographic works, ano pa, musical compositions, works or drawings, paintings, architecture, sculpture, engraving, original ornamental designs or models of articles of manufacture, illustrations, maps, sketches, photographic works, audiovisual works, pictorial illustrations, computer programs, and other literary and scholarly, scientific, and artistic works. So yon yung mga original works. Ibig sabihin, walang pinanggaling iba kundi gawa mo lang talaga. It's compared to a derivative work. It is a creation based on an existing work. Ibig sabihin, creation siya base sa isang original work. It can be a dramatization, translation, adaptation, arrangement, or any alteration of a literary or artistic work. It can also be a collection of literary, scholarly, or artistic work and compilations of data and other materials which are original by reason of the selection or coordination or arrangement of their contents. Hindi ibig sabihin na collection na ng literary or scholarly artistic works, automatic na yun. For example, a collection of data tulad ng isang yellow pages, a directory. These are merely collection of numbers of establishments and people. This cannot be considered copyrightable since hindi naman siya creative. You merely collected data and dito, mga numbers and names. So, yung collection of literary and scholarly dapat original by reason of selection or coordination or arrangement of the contents. So, anong example ng isang derivative work? It's the Harry Potter movie franchise. So, siya ay based sa isang libro ni J.K. Rowling. So, yung movie adaptation na yon ay isang derivative work which is also subject to copyright. Now, nabanggit ko na kung ano yung mga scope ng copyrights. Ano naman yung mga hindi covered ng copyrightable works? First is idea, procedure, system, method, or operation, concept, principle, discovery, or mere data as such. So, itong mga to, kung idea lang siya, naisip mo lang, hindi pa yun copyrightable. There should be a manifestation. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-claim na ginaya yung naiisip mo pa lang. Di ba? Kasi hindi pa siya nagmamanifest. Second is news of the day and other items of press information. Any official text of a legislative, administrative, or legal nature. For example, yung mga batas natin, nasa website yan, kahit I-print mo yan, ipa-xerox mo ng paulit-ulit, hindi ka magko-commit ng copyright infringement kasi those are not copyrightable. Pleadings. So, sa mga abogado, nagpe-prepare sila ng mga mahabang pleadings explaining their arguments. Hindi rin po iyon copyrightable. Decisions of courts and tribunals, also not copyrightable. TV programs and format of TV programs. For example, game ka na ba? Who Wants to be a Millionaire? Although yung mga names na yon pwedeng maging subject, but the format itself are not. Systems of bookkeeping, statutes, or mga batas. Now we go to the more relevant non-copyrightable works. These are works of the government of the Philippines. A work of the government of the Philippines referred to a work of the government employee created by an office or any of its subdivisions and instrumentalities, including GOCCs, as part of his regularly prescribed official duties. This is broader than what was discussed above kanina, since yung scope ay beyond the text or documents. Thus, for example, an architectural work by a government engineer that was designed as part of his duty cannot be protected by copyright because yon ay part ng kanyang trabaho and thus it is work by the government and it is not copyrightable. There are two elements to be present in order for a work to be deemed as a work of the government. First is that the creator must be an officer or employee of the government. And second is that the work was done as part of his regularly prescribed duties. So one, dapat empleyado siya or officer siya ng gobyerno. And two, yung ginawa niya ay parte ng trabaho niya. It is provided that no copyright shall subsist in any work of the government of the Philippines. This is under section 176.1 of the IP code. So as a general rule, however, prior approval of the government agency shall be necessary for exploitation of such work for profit. Such agency or office may, among other things, impose as a condition the payment of royalties. An exception to this general rule is that no prior approval or condition shall be required for the use of any purpose of statutes, rules, and regulations and speeches, lectures, sermons, addresses, and dissertations pronounced, read, or rendered in courts of justices before administrative agencies, in deliberative assemblies, and in meetings of public character. However, the author of the speeches, lectures, sermons, addresses, and dissertations alone shall have the exclusive right of making a collection of his works. So kung sino lang yung author nung mga yon, siya lang yung may right din na gumawa ng collection as to these creations. So under 176.2, the author of speeches, again, siya lang yung makakapag-create ng collection. And notwithstanding the foregoing, the government is not precluded from receiving and holding copyright transferred to it by assignment, bequest, or otherwise, nor shall publication or republication by the government in a public document of any work in which copyright is subsisting to be taken to cause any abridgment or annulment of copyright or to authorize any use or appropriation of such work without the consent of the copyright owner. So, dito nakita natin na kapag ka ang isang empleyado ng gobyerno ay gumawa ng isang isang literary piece or isang material, written material, and this is part of his or her duties, hindi ito pwedeng ma-subject ng ma-register as copyrightable kasi ito ay considered as works of the government. The IPO issued IPO Memorandum Circular number 2020-024. So ito yung mas pinagtitibay niya yung copyright rules and regulations for the government. Dito sinasabi na the government itself through its branches, agencies, and instrumentalities is a creator of works which although not copyright protected, ina-enjoy niya pa rin yung mga protections pursuant to 176 of the IP Code under the concept of works of the government. So, dito tayo sa ASCOT. Huwag tayong lumayo. Meron tayong approved intellectual property policy and guidelines. This was approved noong January 23, 2022 in a BOT meeting. So under ng ating policies and guidelines dito sa ASCOT, copyright ownership of IP by college personnel and students shall vest in the inventor or authors. Ito kasi yung general rule. Kung sino yung gumawa, siya yung may-ari. Except, however, kapag yung creation na yon ay created pursuant to an agreement between the college and the research collaborators, yung copyright noon ay magbibilong sa college, hindi dun sa author. Kasi nga, merong terms yung relationship between the author and the institution, whether it be a MOA or an MOU. Another exception is that if the intellectual property is created by non-college personnel or student in the time of his/her employment or stay in the college. Also, if the IP is commissioned by the college for a specific purpose. Last, if the IP is created using the funds provided by or through the college for such purpose. So in these 4 instances, hindi dun sa author yung pagmamay-ari ng intellectual property rights. Rather, ito ay pagmamay-ari ng institution, ng ASCOT. Also, under the intellectual property policy and guidelines of ASCOT, the college shall have the right to use, publish, and reproduce such IP in whatever form, electronic or otherwise, for its educational, research, and academic purposes with proper notification to the holder. So may attribution pa rin naman. If the holder is other than the college, prior consent is required from the holder before any compilation, distribution, and sale can be made. Also, in this, the ASCOT intellectual property policy and guidelines, it provides that intellectual property made by the college personnel or students are owned by the college when either of the following applies. IP was made in the course or pursuant to college researches, or IP was developed with substantial use of college resources. However, we should also note that under the same guidelines, sinasabi rin doon na all IP created or developed by college personnel or students in their own personal time and expenses, which are neither connected to the college research or developed with substantial use of college resources, shall belong to the personnel or student and shall be deemed as the inventor or authors. Ibig sabihin, kung yung nilikha ng isang personnel or ng isang estudyante ay hindi naman niya ginamit yung resources ng college and hindi naman niya ginamit yung oras ng gobyerno or nung time ng official duties niya, hindi yun sa institution. Rather, it is his, sa author or sa inventor. Now, as compared to the policy, intellectual property policy of UP, for example lang, para lang meron tayong mapagkumparahan, sabi sa kanilang policies, as a general rule, copyright of all works shall remain with the creator except in cases of institutional or collaborative works. When copyright must be assigned to the university, creator shall disclose the existence and assign the copyright to the university. Kapag walang stipulation, in the absence of any contractual stipulation to the contrary, if the works is the result of a collaborative effort between the university and outside entity and the creators, the copyright shall be jointly owned by the university, creator, and outside entity. So somehow may similarities pa rin naman pagdating dun sa policies ng ASCOT. But the difference is dito sa IP policies and guidelines ng UP, meron silang concrete na waiver pagdating sa pag-waive ng rights ng institution, ng university, dun sa intellectual property rights over the material. So sabi dito, in case of institutional works and works of joint ownership with the university, through its designated officials, may waive copyright in favor of the creator. So, pwedeng sabihin ng university na, o sige, hindi na namin ito pagmamayari. Pagmamayari na to ng empleyadong gumawa or ng creator na yon. But, the following conditions should be met. Waiver would enhance the transfer technology or improve the access of works by the public in general. Waiver does not violate any existing contractual obligation. And the participation of the university in the work is acknowledged by the creator. So, parang may attribution lang, natulungan ako ng university in doing this. Ganon. Tapos, meron din silang parang prescriptive period. If after a year nang i-disclose mo yung iyong ginawa sa university, hindi siya napa-register, it is an automatic, it will be deemed as an automatic waiver. So, ibig sabihin nun, yung creator na or yung author na yung yung soul na nagmamay-ari nung copyright na material. Ano nga ba yung mga rights ng author? There are two types of rights of an author. First is the economic right. So this is the right to carry out, authorize, or prevent. So tatlo, carry out, authorize, and prevent the following acts. Reproduction of the work or substantial portion thereof. Carry out derivative work. So kanina nabanggit na natin kung ano-ano yung mga derivative works. First, distribution of the original and each copy of the work by sale or other forms of transfer of ownership. Rental right. So, pwede siyang mag-claim ng fees. Public display, public performance, and other communications to the public. Ano naman yung mga moral rights? So, hindi naman lang pecuniary lagi ang consideration when it comes to copyright. So, minsan, ikino-consider din natin yung mga moral rights. So, what are these? For reasons of professionalism and propriety, the author has the right to, 1, require that the authorship of the works be attributed to him. So, kailangan, babanggitin mo na yung isang parte or excerpt, kunwari, gagamitin mong part ng isang research material, i-quote mo yon. So, dapat ina-attribute mo yung part na yon or yung quotation na yon kung saan mo siya kinuha. So, basically, citation. Isa-cite mo. Letter B, to make any alterations of his work prior to or to withhold it from publication. Third, to preserve integrity of work, object, or any distortion, mutilation, or other modification which should be prejudicial to his honor or reputation. Kunwari, may i-adapt na isang movie tapos based yon sa isang sa gawa mo, if makaka-apekto yun sa integridad mo, pwede mong tanggihan na ayaw ko yan, hindi ka papayag na baguhin or i-alter yung pagkakalahad ng istorya mo. Letter D, to restrain the use of his name with respect to any work not his own creation or in a distorted version of his work. So, yun naman yung moral rights. Now we go to limitations of copyright. Madami to, but we will focus on the pertinent limitations since what we are discussing now is the legal considerations in making instructional materials for the college. So ano ang mga limitations ng copyright? Making of quotations from a published work if they are compatible with fair use and only to the extent justified for the purpose. Later on, we'll discuss what is fair use as an exception to the copyright. Number two, for teaching purposes, provide that the source and of the name of the author, if appearing in the work, are mentioned. So, isa-cite mo. Number three, recording made in educational institutions, just like this, of a work included in a broadcast for the use of such educational institutions, provided that such recording must be deleted within a reasonable period after they were first broadcast. The use of a work by or under the direction or control of the government by the National Library or by educational, scientific, or professional institutions where such use is in the public interest and is compatible with fair use. So ulit-ulit natin makikita yung fair use and later on we will discuss what is fair use. But for now, fair use of a copyrighted work for criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, research, and similar purposes is not an infringement of copyright. So dito pa lang, nagkakaroon tayo ng brief background kung ano ba ang fair use. If gagamitin mo lang ang isang material, copyrighted material for criticism, comments, or news reporting, or magtuturo ka, as long as fair yung paggamit mo, excluded na yon sa infringement ng copyright. Last is any library or archive whose activities are not for profit may, without the authorization of the author or of copyright owner, make a single copy of the work by reprographic reproduction. So now we go to fair use. Fair use permits a secondary use that serves the copyright objective of stimulating productive thought and public instruction without excessively diminishing the incentives for creativity. Basically, fair use permits a secondary use that serves the copyright objective that allows somebody else to use his work pero dapat fairly. Ibig sabihin, under reasonable circumstances. It is a universally accepted limitation of copyright. Ano yung doctrine ng fair use? Ano dapat yung mga factors na kino-consider mo? First, the purpose and character of the use. So, if gagamitin mo lang siya for scholarly purposes sa pag-aaral mo or gagawa ka ng critique, school requirement, yun, exception siya sa infringement ng copyright. Kasi, ginagamit mo lang siya for fair use. Number two, the nature of the copyrighted work. For instance, rules as to quotations from true-to-life story about historical figure may be relaxed as compared to quotations from a non-fiction storybook. Third, the amount and substantiality of the work used. Based on law, practice, and jurisprudence, it is evident that substantiality weighs more than the amount. Kailan ba nagkakaroon ng substantial reproduction ng book kung saan i-consider na itong isang copyright infringement? It does not necessarily require that the entire copyrighted work or even a large portion of it be copied. If so, much is taken that the value of the original work is substantially diminished, there is an infringement of copyright, and to an injurious extent, the work is appropriated. So, hindi lang sa dami or lawak kung gaano mo kinopya yung isang bagay, madedetermine kung meron bang infringement or hindi. Pero of course, isang malaking consideration yon. For example, may isang libro na 500 pages. Ang kinopya mo lang naman ay 10. Let's say for example, gagamitin mo sa school. So walang copyright infringement doon because it is used for educational purposes. But for example, isang libro na novel, ipapa-photocopy mo kalahating part or halos buo na, of course there would be an infringement there. Kasi ininanakawan mo na ng rights yung may-ari, no, yung author ng libro, na ma-exercise niya yung kanyang mga rights tulad ng reproduction, selling, kasi nga ikaw na mismo, pina-photocopy mo na. So, infringement yon. So, in determining whether infringement is has taken place, the amount of the matter copied from the copyrighted work is an important consideration to constitute infringement. However, it is not necessary that the whole or even a large portion of work shall have been copied. So, what is important is that may injury kang na-cause dun sa copyright holder. That the original work is substantially diminished. So, meron na kaagad nun infringement. Also, a factor in determining whether there's fair use is the effect on the market value of the original work. So, tuloy yung example ko kanina. Even if what was copied is 10 out of 500 pages, if those pages prove to be the reason why your new book is patronized, mas binibili siya dahil lang sa 10 pages na kinopya mo dun sa libro na 500 pages, that would still be considered as infringement. So wala sa dami, wala dun sa dami ng kinopya mo, kundi dun sa effect niya, dun sa injury na na-cause. Also note that the fact that the work is unpublished shall not by itself bar a finding of fair use if such finding is made upon consideration of all of the above factors. So kahit hindi siya na-publish ng mga libro, like hindi siya dumaan sa Rex or sa Phoenix, ganon, pwede pa rin naman maging subject ng fair use. So, copyright infringement, it is the doing by any person without the consent of the owner of the copyright of anything the sole right to do which is conferred by statute on the owner of the copyright. The act of lifting from another book substantial portions of discussions and examples, and the failure to acknowledge the same is an infringement of copyright. So, ito yung isa sa mga landmark cases when it comes to copyright infringement, the Habana case, wherein may 2 sets of authors dito. So, yung petitioner, sila Habana, and then yung respondents naman, sila Rojas. So, sila Habana, meron silang librong ginawa. It's called the Developing English, hindi. Ito yung sa college. English for College English for Today. Tapos, dun sa una yung na-publish. And then the other one, yung kila Robles sa mga respondents is Developing English Proficiency. So, nung gusto nang i-revise nila Habana yung kanilang libro, since sila yung unang nag-publish, napansin nila nung habang nag-check sila ng mga other books available in the market, nakita nila yung libro nila Robles. And napansin nila na sobrang yung pagkakapareho nung libro nila dun sa libro nila Robles. Even yung mga content, scheme of presentation, illustration, even mga examples nung libro nila Habana ay similar dun sa libro nila Robles. So, ano yung sabi dun ng Korte Suprema? Sabi ng Supreme Court, it is not necessarily required that the entire copyrighted work or even the large portion of it be copied. If so much is taken that the value of the original work is substantially diminished, there is an infringement of the copyright, and to an injurious extent, the work is appropriated. It is no defense that the pirate did not know whether or not he was infringing any copyright. he at least knew that what he was copying was not his and he copied at his peril. In cases of infringement, copying alone is not what is prohibited. The copying must produce an injurious effect. So, punta naman tayo sa mga sino ba yung nagko-commit ng copyright infringement. So, a person infringes a right uh, protected under the IP code when first, he directly commits an infringement. So, paano yon? Bina-violate niya yung mga rights ng isang author. Yung kanina natin nabanggit, the reproduction, yung pag-sell, paggawa, yung mga yon. Number two, kung hindi man siya directly yung involved, nag-benefit siya from the infringing activity of another person committing the infringement if the person benefiting has been given notice of the infringing activity. Nalaman niya na nagva-violate na pala ng copyright yung gumagawa nun, tapos nagbe-benefit siya. And he has the ability to control the activities of that other person. Hindi niya pinigilan, nag-benefit lang siya. So, siya din ay liable for copyright infringement. And last is, with knowledge of the infringing activity, induce, causes, or materially contributes to the infringing conduct of another. Now, how is copyright infringement different from plagiarism? Plagiarism is the practice of claiming or implying original authorship of or incorporating material from someone else's written or creative work in whole or in part into one's own without adequate acknowledgement. So, hindi ka nag-a-attribute na kinuha mo lang yung gawa mong yon. Pinapass off mo siya or pinapakita mo sa public na gawa mo talaga when in fact, kinopya mo lang. That is plagiarism. So how is that different from copyright infringement? Copyright infringement mas broad. Yung plagiarism naman, specific. It is, kiniklaim mo yung isang work na gawa mo without proper attribution. Hindi mo sinaside kung kanino mo kinuha. That's plagiarism. Hindi mo ina-acknowledge kung sino yung totoong sumulat nun or sino yung totoong gumawa. So, what else? Ang mga public documents may not be copyrighted, but they may be subject to plagiarism. You can, for example, mga works ng government, hindi siya copyrightable, so hindi ka makakapag-commit ng copyright infringement, but you can commit plagiarism kapag kinopya mo yung gawa. So what are the available remedies kapag ka na-commit ang copyright infringement? One is injunction. So ipapatigil mo kung ano yung ginagawa ng pirate or infringer na yon, ipapatigil mo sa court. Sasabihin mo, ito, ini-infringe nito yung copyright ko, yung karapatan ko na exercise under the law. Number two, damages, including legal costs and other expenses. Number three, deliver under oath for impounding. 4, deliver under oath for destruction without any compensation, all infringing copies. 5, moral and exemplary damages. 6, seizure and impounding of any article which may serve as evidence in the court proceedings. Also, meron din kaakibat na criminal penalty under the law ang copyright infringement. You may be subject to imprisonment and fine. So, yung imprisonment would range from 1 year to 9 years, depending kung pang ilang offense mo na siya. And also, the fine would range from 50,000 to 1.5 million. Now, as to the registration of a copyrightable work. So, registration, nabanggit pala natin kanina na from the time of creation, protektado na ang yung copyright copyrighted work. Pero bakit kailangan mo pa siyang i-register? It is important to register a work kasi kapag na-register mo siya, pwede ka na mag-bring ng infringement action kapag ka na-violate yung rights mo. Number two, it's an evidence of the validity of your work. Because of registration also, you can claim statutory damages and attorney's fees. It also creates a public record of your work. And lastly, it satisfies deposit requirements. So registration and deposit of your work is not necessary, but authors and artists may opt to file for the copyright registration of their work with the Intellectual Property Office for the issuance of the appropriate certificate of copyright registration. So, paano mag-register ng work? Punta lang kayo dun sa website ng IPO. There will be a guide there. So, first, you will have to download a form. Tapos, isa-send mo na yung mga requirements mo, and then you'll have to pay the filing fees. And then, afterwards, magde-decide na ang IPO if the copyrightable yung work para ma-issuehan ka ng certificate of copyright. So that's it. I hope you learned something today when it comes to intellectual property, the legal considerations of copywriting, instructional materials for the college, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Olivar. Now that we conclude our incredibly insightful discussion about intellectual property rights and legal considerations in copywriting instructional materials, allow us to award this certificate of appreciation. Republic of the Philippines, Aurora State College of Technology, Instructional Materials Development Committee, Vice President for Academic Affairs Office, Baler Aurora 3200 Philippines. This certificate of appreciation is awarded to Attorney Karl Thomas M. Olivar for rendering his invaluable time and service as resource speaker for the topic Intellectual Property Rights and Legal Considerations in Copywriting Instructional Materials during the online lectures on syllabus preparation, module writing, and copywriting instructional materials streamed at the ASCOT official Facebook page on December 20, 2023. Given this 20th of December 2023 at the Aurora State College of Technology, Zabali, Baler, Aurora. Signed, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. R.B.J. Gallego. Signed, Officer in Charge, Office of the President, Ms. Laura L. UC. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our webinar in syllabus preparation, module writing, and copywriting instructional materials. But before we formally conclude this meaningful discussion, let us hear a closing remark from the chairperson of Instructional Materials Development Committee, Dr. Jocelyn H. Diaz.
Our energetic officer in charge of the Office of the President, Ms. Laura UC, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. RBJ Gallego, our Vice President for Administration, Planning and Finance, Forester Michelle Risueño, Head of Offices, Deans, dear students and participants, a blessed afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the Instructional Materials Development Committee, I would like to express my gratitude to our competent speakers, Attorney Karl Tomas Olivar, who talked about intellectual property rights and legal considerations in copywriting instructional materials, and Ms. Nikita Paola del Mundo, who discussed assessment of learning, syllabus, and instructional materials making. To motivate and encourage our students to be engaged and be able to accomplish their tasks, we, as their teachers, should create instructional materials that will stimulate meaningful and lasting learning among our students. These instructional materials will become our students' resources, and at the same time, they will do us a lot as teachers because seeing our students driven and pleased with the activities that we provided for them is already a great accomplishment. Creating our own instructional materials is also one way of upgrading our academic ranks and of realizing our institution's vision to become one of the best educational institutions in the country. And because of that, I want to congratulate our participants and attendees of this online seminar. There will be a series of online seminar and I hope that you will attend again in our upcoming activities. Most of all, I want to commend Miss Melissa Grace Nasino and those who contributed enormous effort in realizing this online seminar. My gratefulness also to the Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, headed by Dr. Arby Gallego, for supporting the activities of the Instructional Materials Development Committee. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much for your message, Doc Diaz. Well then, today we've delved into the art and science of crafting effective and engaging materials that truly resonates with our learners. And as we conclude, let me express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for joining us on this educational journey. Your passion for enhancing the learning experience through well-crafted instructional materials is truly inspiring. Remember, the power to transform education lies not only in our hands, but in the thoughtful content that we create. Take the knowledge you've gained today and let it spark innovation in your classrooms, training sessions, or online learning platforms. Whether you're an experienced educator or just beginning your instructional materials, you play a pivotal role in shaping the future of education. Well, thank you for being with us and see you again soon.
Aurora State College of Technology, sa lalawigan ng Aurora, pag-asa ka ng kabataan, kaganapan ng bayan, ang tapat mong pitaya, sa puso ko'y nakaugat na, ikaw nawa'y patnubayan, ng poong may kapal, ang dakila mong karunungan ay dakilang karangalan, binusilak na layuning tapat, sa lahit sa bayan mo'y pinapanday ang pag-unlad. Aurora State College of Technology, ika'y laging idadalangin, bandila mo'y iwawagayway, pagkat ikaw ang gabay sa pagsulong ng aming bayan, pangalan mo'y aming dangal. Mabuhay ka, ASCOT, ika'y aming minamahal.
Welcome to the overview of Aurora State College of Technology, where we delve into the heart of our institution and explore the many facets that